My name is Maya, 36 years old, operations manager at a logistics company in Houston. That evening, I froze in front of Carlo's Prime Steakhouse. Inside, the atmosphere buzzed, golden lights shining on the bright faces of more than a dozen people seated around a long table. Dessert plates half eaten, wine glasses half full, crumbs scattered on the white tablecloth. The celebration was clearly wrapping up. My mother, Elaine, in a striking jade silk blouse, looked up and forced a smile. Maya, you finally showed up. I glanced at my watch. 7:15, I was certain. Dinner started at 6:30. I had confirmed with her that morning, and even at lunch she called to remind me not to be late. My voice wavered with confusion. I'm on time. Didn't you say 6:30? My father, Charles, dabbed his mouth with a napkin and replied flatly, We moved it up to 5. Your mother mentioned it. I froze. No one ever told me. I had spent the entire afternoon fixing a shipping error that sent freight to Dallas instead of Miami, then fought through traffic to get here. Yet now, they had finished eating, and I was painted as late. My mother shrugged, the diamond bracelet on her wrist, sparkling under the light. I did say the time might change. Honestly, I didn't think you'd make it. You're always busy. Her words were sharp as glass. I had cleared my entire day just to be here, and all I got was cold dismissal. Beside her, my 29-year-old sister Brianna smirked, a third glass of wine in front of her, her cheeks flushed. Want some leftover salad and dry bread? Maybe a cold rib, too. The table erupted in laughter. Uncle Ronald choked on his coffee. My mother waved a hand half-heartedly. Brianna, don't be rude. But her eyes on me carried calculation. She reached into her purse, pulled out a neatly folded slip of paper, and handed it over with syrupy sweetness. Since you're here, your timing is actually perfect. I unfolded it with trembling hands. A bill, totaling $1,685.77. My mother leaned back, lips curling. You'll be happy to take care of this, especially since you missed the meal. The room shrank around me. In a flash, memories hit. 3 years of paying their mortgage when Dad was unemployed, covering Brianna's fancy downtown apartment rent, putting down the deposit on Dad's new Ford, funding a Florida vacation I wasn't even told about. I had become the family's walking wallet. 14 pairs of eyes locked on me, expectant. Their tradition, Maya pays, Maya shoulders. Maya never complains. My heart pounded, but my hands were steady. I tore the bill in half. The rip sliced through the silence. Then into quarters, then eighths, scraps fluttering onto the white table like absurd confetti. Brianna sneered. Looks like our sponsor's not in the mood tonight. Awkward laughter rippled. No one dared meet my eyes. My father's jaw tightened. Maya. His voice carried the same warning tone from my childhood. But something inside me had shattered. Years of trying to buy love and approval dissolved in that moment. I realized I was nothing but their wallet. I turned, pushed open the heavy door of Carlo's Prime. Laughter behind me faded. For the first time in years, I didn't look back. Outside, the Houston night wind swept past cold but cleansing. I knew from this moment on nothing would ever be the same. I sped through the dark streets of Houston, my head still reeling from what had just happened. Back at my 10th floor apartment, I slammed the door so hard the framed certificate on the wall rattled. My chest heaved, my heart thudding violently. I tossed my purse on the table and sank into a chair, clutching my head. The image of the entire table staring at me expectantly replayed again and again, like a wound that refused to close. My mother's voice echoed, You take care of this. Why did they always see me as nothing more than a wallet? I stood and went straight into my small office. In the bottom drawer sat a thick folder I had avoided for years. On the cover, in neat handwriting, Family Expenses. My hand trembled as I pulled it out, as if opening a secret I had tried to ignore all this time. I spread the papers across the desk. Receipts, bills, bank statements meticulously filed. My habit of being organized had preserved a painful record. Turning each page, my past was laid bare. In 2020, when my father Charles lost his construction job, I paid nearly 12 months of mortgage, over $21,400. In 2021, my sister Brianna rented a luxury midtown apartment at $2,200 a month. For 6 months, I covered it close to $13,000. Early in 2022, Dad insisted on trading in for a new Ford Explorer. I wired $7,800 for the down payment. Last summer, Mom claimed she needed urgent dental work. I handed over $4,200, only to see her wearing a new pearl necklace at a family party. I collapsed into the chair. The numbers piled up, making my stomach twist. I grabbed pen and paper, tallying everything. When the total appeared, my vision dimmed. $48,973 in just 3 years. Nearly 50 grand poured out with no gratitude in return. A wave of nausea rose. I stumbled to the bathroom, bitter bile catching in my throat. Sitting on the cold tile floor, I realized this wasn't just a single insult at a restaurant. This had been systematic, carefully orchestrated for years. Once I steadied myself, I returned to the desk and pulled up online statements. One charge made me freeze. Arizona resort, package for 4, round-trip flights, golf, spa. The payment date, February last year. I had never even heard of this trip. I had paid for a family vacation I wasn't invited to. My hands clenched white. For years, I thought I was helping, carrying the load, repaying them. The truth was, I had been treated like an ATM. I checked my retirement account, only $19,200. At 36, that balance was frighteningly low. I had sacrificed every trip, including the Canada vacation I'd planned for 3 years, just to cover their so-called emergencies. My phone buzzed. A text from Mom. "You embarrassed us tonight. Call when you're ready to apologize." I stared at the screen, a chill running through me. They saw no pain, only their pride. Something inside me hardened. I opened my laptop, logged into my bank. Step by step, I canceled all automatic transfers to my parents' accounts, removed Brianna as an authorized user on my card, created a new Excel file titled Independence Plan with savings goals for the next 6 months. When finished, I felt a touch lighter. Though fear still lurked, I knew this was only the beginning. My family wouldn't let go easily. The phone lit again. This time from Dad. "Your mother is very disappointed. Don't make things worse. This is not how you treat family." I stared at the word family, hollow and meaningless. Without hesitation, I blocked his number. Then Mom's, then Brianna's. One by one, everyone at that table who had sat in silence while I was humiliated. Silence filled the apartment. No more buzzing notifications, no more endless demands. The stillness wasn't exactly comforting, but it was cold, decisive. I sat listening to the tick of the clock, for the first time feeling the power of choice in my own hands. I woke the next morning with heavy eyes, my head taut as a wire. The Houston sky hung gray, promising a long day. I rose, brewed a cup of black coffee, and opened my laptop. On the screen, the Independence Plan spreadsheet I had created the night before glowed back at me. The numbers were cold, precise, but for the first time in years, I felt in control of something. I began by reviewing every account. All automatic transfers to my parents' accounts were canceled. Brianna's access as an authorized user on my credit card was gone. Every tie to them was vanishing. I even opened a separate savings account at another bank, locked with 2-factor authentication, like building a wall of my own. But I knew it wouldn't be peaceful. My family never let go of easy money. I was right. By noon, the office landline rang. Hesitantly, I answered. My Aunt Paula, my mother's sister, spoke from the other end. Maya, what's going on? Everyone says you're having some kind of breakdown. Did you really cause a scene at the restaurant last night? I gripped the receiver. So Mom had already spun her story. I replied firmly, Aunt Paula, I'm not crazy. I just stopped paying their debts. Silence, then a weak murmur. Well, maybe you need some rest. She hung up. My fingers shook as I set the phone down. That afternoon, back home, I opened the drawer stacked with unopened bank envelopes. I tore them one by one. My heart sank. A notice of a 70-point credit score drop, a lowered credit limit, strange payments I didn't recognize. My throat tightened. Something was wrong. I logged into my online account and combed through the transactions. Buried among hundreds of charges, one name leapt out, Scottsdale Resort and Spa. I had never booked that. Another, Best Buy MacBook Pro 16-inch. I hadn't bought that either. Looking closer, every suspicious charge was linked to my parents' home address in the suburbs. A chill ran through me. It felt like being robbed of my very identity. I shut the laptop and sat in the dark. My mother's voice echoed. It's fine if you don't come, just don't embarrass the family. My father's words, family should help each other. Brianna's taunt, you've got money, what's the big deal? Each phrase cut like shards of glass. My phone lit up. A text from Mom. For Labor Day, the family still expects you to bring the main dish. Don't let everyone down. I stared at the words and let out a dry, bitter laugh. I deleted the message and with it, the last illusion of obligation. That night, I couldn't sleep. I paced the small apartment until finally pulling out an old notebook. I began to write, list of everything they've taken from me. Page after page filled Brianna's fancy apartment, Dad's car, Mom's pearls, a vacation I never attended. When I finished, the total exceeded $50,000. Enough to change a life. The next morning, I met Evelyn, an older colleague I trusted, at a cafe near work. I didn't give details, just sighed. Ever feel like your family treats you like a money machine? Evelyn studied me, then said slowly, Maya, people only treat you how you allow them to. If they don't see a limit, you have to set one. Her words rang like a bell. I nodded, a spark of resolve flickering in my eyes for the first time. That evening, I reopened my plan. I added a bold new line, gather evidence and protect myself. I downloaded every statement, printed receipts, marked each suspicious charge. I created a new folder named Proof. By the time I closed the laptop, the clock struck 1 a.m. I leaned back in the chair, fear gnawing but mingled with something new, hope. The fight with my family had only begun, and this time I would not bow my head. Rumors spread faster than I expected. In the first week after that dinner, I received countless texts from unknown numbers. Some asked if I was truly having a mental breakdown. Others hinted I was overworked and losing control. I bit my lip as I read. Clearly, these lies were spun by my parents and Brianna. By Saturday, I ran into Mrs. Ruby, my elderly downstairs neighbor, as she returned from the market. She tilted her head, pity in her eyes. Maya? Are you all right? Your mother came by last week, said you were going through a hard time. She seemed so worried. My throat tightened. They weren't just spreading stories within the family, they were dragging neighbors into the act. I forced a small smile. I'm fine, Mrs. Ruby. Better than ever. But inside, I was boiling. That evening, I sat in my apartment, opening the proof folder on my laptop. The evidence grew daily. Photos of receipts, printed statements, spreadsheets with dates, amounts, reasons for each payment. I carefully noted who asked, real reason. Was I thanked? The thanked column was almost empty. My phone lit again. Aunt Paula's voice carried a sharp edge. Maya, do you know your mother's been crying nonstop? She says you've abandoned the family. Do you really want to break your parents' hearts? I exhaled slowly. Aunt Paula, if you saw everything I've paid for them, you'd understand. They've never valued it. I'm not abandoning anyone. I'm saving myself. Silence, then a hesitant reply. Well, either way, family matters shouldn't be aired outside. We must preserve dignity. I hung up, my chest icy. The next day, during a meeting at work, I caught colleagues exchanging looks. Afterward, Mark, from my department, pulled me aside. I saw your mom at church last night. She said you're under serious stress. Maya, is that true? I clenched my jaw. They had no shame exposing my personal life to the community. That's not true, Mark, I said curtly, walking away. That night, I decided I couldn't just sit still. I downloaded a recording app to my phone. I also reached out to an old college acquaintance, Rachel Green, now a lawyer in Houston. I sent her a few statements with a note. I think my family is exploiting me financially and smearing my name. I need advice. Rachel called back that evening, her tone crisp. Maya, you need to keep everything: receipts, emails, texts, even spoken words if you can. If this continues, it's no longer just family issues. It could be fraud. Her words struck hard. I pulled out more old envelopes, sorting them by year. One stood out. Last month, Mom said she needed money for roof repairs, but the invoice clearly showed a vacation package. I marked it and read, "Cover up, not truthful." While I was knee-deep in papers, my phone buzzed. A message from Brianna. "You're ruining everything. The whole family says you're selfish, only caring about yourself. If you keep this up, I'll tell everyone you stole from the church fund." I let out a bitter laugh. I had never taken a single cent from any church. She was fabricating stories to corner me. I screenshotted the text and saved it in proof. The next day, I had dinner with Theo, my old college friend turned attorney. After hearing my summary, his face hardened. Maya, you need to see this clearly. They're manipulating you. They're inventing lies to make you feel guilty and drag you back into being their provider. If you waver, they win. I nodded, fear and determination colliding inside me. I knew I was facing not only greed, but a carefully woven web of deceit. This time, though, I had a plan. Late at night, I closed the folder and sat in the dim room. One question echoed. If they dared invent stories to discredit me, how much further would they go? My phone screen glowed. A new message from Mom. The more you do this, the more you destroy yourself. I inhaled deeply, saved the text into my evidence folder, and whispered to myself, "No, Mom. It's you and everyone else destroying yourselves." One Tuesday morning, just as I poured my coffee, the phone rang. The screen showed an unfamiliar number with a New York area code. I almost let it go to voicemail, but instinct told me to answer. A clear, professional woman's voice came through. "Hello, this is Diane Reynolds from Chase Bank's Fraud Department. May I speak with Miss Maya Collins?" I froze. "Yes, this is she. We need to verify some information. Recently, a Sapphire Reserve credit card was opened using your name and social security number. The account currently has an outstanding balance of about $18,900. We want to confirm whether you actually applied." I set my cup down, heart racing. I never opened that card. I never received any paperwork either. A pause, then Diane continued. "According to our records, the card was registered last month. The email used was bj.collins94@gmail.com. The mailing address is a house in Sugar Land, Houston. Does that address relate to you?" A chill ran down my spine. That was my parents' address. And the initials, BJ, Brianna Jean Collins, pointed straight at my sister. I took a deep breath to steady myself. That's my parents' home, but I never gave permission to use my personal information. This is fraud. Diane reassured me. We'll open a fraud case immediately and send confirmation paperwork, but you'll need to file a police report. You should also change all your passwords and activate credit protection. I thanked her and hung up. My apartment felt oppressively quiet, only the ticking clock audible. Fury and numbness coursed through me. For years, I had tolerated them taking my money. Now, they hadn't just taken money, they had stolen my identity. I opened my laptop, combed through emails. Nothing from Chase, meaning they had deliberately used a different address. I quickly installed a recording app on my phone, ready for whatever came next. That night, I called Theo Ramirez, my old college friend, now a financial attorney. We'd kept in touch over the years. After I explained, his voice dropped. Maya, this isn't family drama anymore. This is federal crime. You need to keep every piece of evidence. I'll help you prepare a legal file. Following his bench's advice, I sent him the Chase statement along with the manipulative texts from Mom and Brianna. He promised to stop by in the morning with the necessary paperwork. The next day, Theo arrived at my apartment, a thick file in hand. He spread documents across the table, explaining, I've drafted a complaint for the city police. Here's a summary of fraudulent charges, electronics, travel tickets, spa fees, and here are the federal statutes on identity theft. If needed, we can escalate. I held the papers, my fingers trembling but my eyes sharper than ever. I can't believe they went this far. Theo looked straight at me. Actually, I can, because they know you've always been soft. They counted on you letting it slide, but this time we won't. Suddenly, my phone rang. Mom. Theo nodded, signaling me to hit record. I answered. Maya. Her voice soft, coaxing. Don't be upset. Your father and I just borrowed your information for now. We're family and families share, don't they? I swallowed hard but kept steady. Do you realize how much the debt is right now? A brief silence, then her faint reply. I know. Almost 19,000. But you have a good job. You can handle it. My heart clenched, but my voice was firm. You just admitted to opening that card in my name. That's fraud. I have proof, and I will protect myself. Panic seeped into her tone. Maya, you can't do this. You'll tear the family apart. I ended the call, setting the phone on the table. The recording captured every word, every tremor. Theo nodded. That's it. Solid evidence. I sat in silence, staring at the pile of documents. For the first time, it was undeniable. My own family had turned me into a target to drain dry. But now, I had weapons in hand. And this time, I wasn't backing down. 2 days after the call from Chase, Theo and I compiled all the evidence into a thick folder. Every receipt, every statement carefully marked. I even printed the recording of my mother's voice admitting she had just borrowed your information for now. That Friday afternoon, we drove to the red brick house in Sugar Land, the home I grew up in, now feeling foreign. My heart pounded as we pulled into the driveway. Theo gave me a steady look. Stay calm, Maya. Today we're here for one thing, to lay out the truth and give them their final chance. The door opened. My father, Charles, appeared in a wrinkled shirt. His eyes flicked to Theo, surprise quickly masked by a forced smile. Maya, you're back. Why bring a lawyer? I didn't answer, walking straight into the living room. My mother, Elaine, sat on the sofa clutching her pearls. Brianna lounged on an armchair, scrolling her phone, smirking when she saw me. I set the heavy folder on the wooden table, my voice low. Last month, a Sapphire Reserve credit card was opened using my name and social security number. The mailing address is this house. The email belongs to Brianna. The debt stands at $18,900. The room froze. My mother gave a nervous laugh. Must be a mix-up at the bank, dear. Theo laid out documents, application forms, statements, the mailing address. His tone firm. There's no mistake. This is evidence that Maya's information was stolen. And Mrs. Elaine, you admitted it on record. My father's brow furrowed, his voice sharp. Family shares, Maya. You've got a good job. What's a few thousand? I met his eyes. That's not sharing, that's stealing. Brianna finally looked up, snapping. You're overreacting. I just borrowed a little to get by. Can't you help your sister? I pulled out my phone and played the recording. My mother's voice filled the room. Your father and I just borrowed your information for now. You can handle it. The living room erupted in tension. Theo placed an envelope on the table. This is a demand letter. Repay. Within 45 days. Or Maya will file a civil suit and a criminal report for identity theft. The file is ready. My mother's face drained of color. My father flushed red, slamming his hand on the table. You'd take your own parents to court? We're family! I rose, my voice steady. Family doesn't steal each other's identities. Family doesn't turn their daughter into a walking wallet. This is your last chance, repay, or face the law. Elaine burst into tears, mascara streaking. Brianna hurled her phone onto the table, screaming, You're cruel. Everything you're doing is just revenge. I didn't flinch. Gathering the papers, I said firmly, 45 days. No more. As Theo and I stepped out, their shouting echoed behind us, but I didn't turn back. Outside, the wind whipped through my hair. Theo's hand rested lightly on my shoulder. You did the right thing. The ball's in their court now. I nodded, feeling both heavy and relieved. The confrontation was done. Every word recorded, every paper delivered. This time, they couldn't twist the truth. Driving away, I rolled the window down, letting the wind wash over me. My hands still trembled, but I knew one thing. The road back to being the family bank was gone forever. There was only one path left, fighting for my own justice, at any cost. Just 3 days after the confrontation, my phone wouldn't stop ringing. Texts from Mom poured in pleading, Maya, don't do this. Remember what we gave you. Then accusing, you're destroying this family. Brianna raged, you're a traitor. I'll never forgive you. My father sent only one email, the subject line cold, you'll regret this. I stayed silent, answering nothing. Each message, every call, I screenshot and added to the proof folder. Theo reminded me, don't let them drag you into emotional fights. Stick to facts. But they didn't stop. One Monday afternoon, while I was presenting to my team, the conference room door flew open. My mother, Elaine, strode in, face taut. Colleagues stared, the room frozen. Maya, she choked out, standing in front of the projector screen. We need to talk. You can't drag this family to court. You'll make us a laughingstock. I drew a long breath, keeping my voice even. Mom, this is my workplace. Leave now. She stayed put, eyes brimming with tears. You can't do this to your parents. You used to be such a dutiful daughter. Let it go. Pretend it never happened. Heat rushed through me as my coworkers watched. I reached into my bag, pulled out a thick envelope, and pressed it into her hands. Inside is the draft police report and all the evidence, bank statements, the card application with Brianna's email, and the recording of your own admission. If you ever walk into my office again, I'll file it immediately. She stumbled back, face pale. Without another word, she turned and left, the room cloaked in heavy silence. I calmly resumed my presentation, but inside I knew there was no going back. The next 2 weeks were a storm. My family shifted tactics daily. One day, Brianna texted, please cancel the letter. I swear I'll find a real job. The next, my father called, voice menacing. If you file, I'll cut you off as my daughter. Each word only widened the gulf. One night, a message from Mom, if you go through with this, we'll lose the house. Think of your childhood memories. I read it and gave a bitter laugh. My childhood memories were nothing but being sidelined so Brianna could be favored. On the 43rd day of the 45-day deadline, a bank alert pinged my phone. A transfer of $18,900 from an account in Charles Collins's name. The note field contained only 4 words. Don't mention this again. I stared at the screen. No apology. No admission of wrongdoing. Just a reluctant move to dodge the law. I immediately paid off the fraudulent card, then called Chase to request the account be permanently closed. I asked for written confirmation that the matter was logged as fraud to protect my credit history. That evening, I drafted one email addressed to all 3 of them. The debt has been paid. My legal documentation remains secured. If there is any further fraud or attempts to manipulate me, all evidence will go directly to law enforcement. From this moment, our financial ties are severed. I signed it simply, Maya. Then I blocked their emails, phone numbers, and social media. Silence enveloped my apartment this time, free of buzzing notifications. I knew they'd keep slandering me to relatives, friends, even the church community, but it no longer mattered. I had proof. I had taken back control. Most importantly, I had cut the chain that bound me for decades. Sitting alone in the living room, soft lamplight falling across the neatly stacked papers, I sipped hot tea. One question surfaced. Was this the end or the beginning of another battle? I didn't know, but for the first time, I was certain of one thing. Whatever storm came next, I was ready. After blocking all contact from my parents and Brianna, my apartment became eerily quiet. At first, the silence felt disorienting, but slowly, I realized it was the freedom I'd never had. No more threatening texts, no more tearful calls, only the ticking clock, the whisper of wind through the curtains, and the sound of my own breath. I began focusing on myself. Each morning, I spent 20 minutes jogging around the nearby park instead of rushing to check if someone needed rescuing. I built a new financial plan, trimming useless expenses, setting automatic deposits into my retirement account, and opening a travel savings fund. By the second month, watching my balance grow felt like lifting a boulder off my chest. One Friday night, I opened my laptop and booked a flight to Montreal, the trip I had postponed for 3 years. Hitting confirm, my eyes welled up. This time, it wasn't canceled because my sister needed car repairs or my parents were struggling. This vacation was mine, and I deserved it. As I rebuilt my life, I realized I wasn't alone. Theo often stopped by, bringing food from my favorite Italian place, helping me review old files to make sure everything was secure. He never pushed me to talk. His quiet presence made the apartment feel less empty. Then there were Lisa and Devin, trusted colleagues who never asked about my family, just invited me into their cozy kitchen for small dinners. With them, I finally understood the meaning of chosen family, a place where no one exploited or pressured, only cared. At the same time, I turned toward my career. After years of being the family provider, I had nearly forgotten my personal dreams. One morning, when the company posted an opening for senior operations director, the job description felt written for me. I spent the weekend polishing my resume, highlighting achievements in crisis management, and submitted my application. This time, my hands didn't shake, they were steady with determination. 3 months later, I saved enough for a down payment on a small house outside Houston, with a front yard wide enough for lavender, something I'd dreamed of planting for years. Signing the contract, I remembered my family's sneers. Maya's only good at paying off other people's debts. She knows nothing about planning. Now, I was proving the opposite, not with words, but with results. One autumn evening, I sat with friends on my balcony, golden light illuminating our faces. We raised our glasses, Lisa grinned. Here's to the family we choose, Devin added, and to the boundaries we dare to set. Laughter rang out, clearer than any family gathering I'd ever endured. When everyone left, I stayed on the balcony watching the city glow. An email popped up on my phone from Mom, subject, Family responsibility. I stared at the words, then hit delete. No guilt, no unease, only relief. I knew one day I might face the question, should I give them another chance? But right now, I was certain of one thing. My worth was not in my wallet or their pity. It was in my choice, the choice to step out of the toxic cycle and build a new life with my own hands. That night, before bed, I wrote in my journal, I am no longer Maya, the family's walking wallet. I am Maya, the free woman who loves herself and knows her worth. And for the first time in years, I slept deeply, no nightmares, no haunting thoughts, just peace. Maya's story reminds us that even the closest relatives can take advantage if we don't set boundaries. By daring to face the truth, gather evidence, and protect herself, she escaped a toxic financial trap and opened the door to a new life, free, independent, and worthy of her own efforts. In real life, many face similar manipulation from family or acquaintances. The lesson is clear: learn to say no, prioritize yourself, and find a chosen family among those who truly respect and love you. What do you think about Maya's journey from being the family's walking wallet to becoming a free woman? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to follow the channel so you won't miss more dramatic and meaningful family stories.